So how do you create incentives for really senior people in your team? How do you create that alignment? How do you get them fighting as hard as you? The really simple answer is to give them equity. And obviously that's a big thing to do, I get that, but also it is critical for lots of reasons, mainly because of the fact that it really creates massive amount of alignment. It can also help with like cash risk mitigation as well, because generally speaking people will be willing to take perhaps less in salary if you give them some options for equity in the future. And we had a great options framework. There's no doubt in my head that in any journey that I've been on, we would never have got as far as we did without it. It's really important that great people expect to kind of see something, some reward for what they've built. So you've got to take everybody with you. And so the question is, how do you do it? There's a million different ways, and clearly I'm not going to solve all of this in a 2, 3, 4 minute video. But what are probably worth talking about really quickly are the basics. So the most simple way of doing it, and the most usual way, is using EMI options schemes. You'll have heard of them, you can Google them and find out what they are. But what they really do inherently is they don't give people shares, but they give them an option to purchase shares at a specific trigger point in the future. Usually that's a sale, but it doesn't have to be, it can be something else. The beauty of it is that you control when and how they get those shares. Obviously they need to feel like it's possible, but there's an element of control. You don't need to, you can, but you don't need to give them, voting rights and, rights to, equity or, dividends and all of those kind of things. You can if you want to, but so you critically control the structure. They can just be value on exit, for instance, but that can of course be very, very valuable. A lot of people keep it really simple, and they'll do something like create a 10% of equity value option pool. So give away 10% of the business to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, however many people fit that pool. And then they earn that based on, as I say, a trigger. There are a couple of things that you can do in there. So, usually people earn that over time. That's called vesting. So you have a vesting period. So you could say you've joined now and you're going to earn 25% of your option pool for the next 4 years, for instance. So they earn it over 4 years, so you don't give them it immediately, which obviously helps create stickiness. You can also create things like cliffs, as they're called, which means they might get it, but they need to be in the business for a year or 2 years or however long before they get it. So that's your kind of 1 or 2 year cliff. So that's the simple way of doing it. We used actually what I kind of call a ratcheted kind of options pool scheme, which worked really, really well for us. And the simple way that works is that you create different classes of shares, and then they hold different value depending on, in an exit scenario, for instance, the value of the business. So to give you an example, you could have the first 2, 3, 4, 5 million, you choose the number of founder shares, so nobody else gets that other than the founder or founders. But then you might take a view that obviously if other people are coming in and helping you build the value, they deserve some of the upside after that. So you could have an A class that then sits above that and says that anybody, that in the options, the ratcheted options pool, after let's say £3 million to £10 million, that's £7 million, they get to share it, and then you get to decide on what percentage of that 7 million ratchet they get to share. And then of course you can have a B share, which is like, and then anybody at 10 million to infinite, the shares like this. And what that allows you to do is actually give people more of the business over time as it grows, which creates a really motivated senior leadership team, because they can see that the harder they work and the more value they create, the more of the pie they get. Also, obviously, de-risks the founders and the founding team, because they know that they've got that first founder share percentage, and then anything over a certain number in your head is, like free money anyway. So if you've got a share of that, that's great. And that really works. We did it, it really helped us get there and created a really kind of incentivized team through an earn-out scenario. So there's a couple of things to think about. As ever, if you've got any questions on it, drop me a DM. Always really happy to talk about this stuff, because it's complicated, it's new, but it also is very important. So hopefully that's helpful.